Good morning. Updated forecast coming up here for the race to Mackinac. I'm meteorologist Chris Bedford. We're getting some clarity, I think, in the forecast for tomorrow and Saturday, but we do have some uncertainty still in the predictions for Sunday and into Monday. This is our surface analysis for this morning. We see low pressures departing out to the east. We'll get some improving weather across Chicago today as this high pressure area over northern Missouri moves very, very slowly to the east. Because that high is so slow moving, the warm front we've been looking at down here is going to be slower coming up to the north, and that's actually, I think, overall good news. It means we'll probably hold off the rain now until sometime later Saturday. It looked like it could be in as early as late Friday into early Saturday morning. Now it looks like it may hold off a good 12 to 18 hours from what we were previously predicting. Going forward in time here on the forecast, it looks like that low, as I mentioned, moves out to the east. The high pressure moves across central Illinois today, and that high will cause winds to lighten up after some stronger winds this morning. The warm front actually looks to go stationary while it's sitting there waiting for this high to get out of the way. Also, we're going to see low pressure and a trough develop over the upper high plains. We need to wait for that to happen because we'll need that in order to help push this warm front further to the north and east. So going into the forecast for tomorrow morning, we have high pressure sitting over northern Indiana at this time, and that high will be, as I said, very slow moving out to the east, and in fact will likely leave a piece of itself behind over the southern part of Lake Michigan to kind of settle in over the cooler water. And that will actually promote development of some kind of a lake breeze component tomorrow afternoon. Our warm front is moving slowly north now tomorrow morning. Rain is pretty much confined to southern central Illinois and Missouri down in this area. However, we will start to see an increase in cloud cover during the day tomorrow from that warm front as it approaches. Going to tomorrow evening, we see the high very slow moving out into northwestern Ohio. Our warm front still across central Missouri, and the rain still down central Illinois area. And this is, as I mentioned, likely to have a secondary high pressure sitting just over the southern part of the lake, southeastern corner of the lake tomorrow evening as well, all driving toward that or helping to drive a lake breeze. Eventually, once the lake breeze dissipates, we get into more of a southerly component gradient ahead of this warm front. Then that may actually back around and become more southeast with time, especially over the southern third or so of the lake on Saturday. But that high pressure bubble may hold over southern Lake Michigan into Saturday. This is the forecast for Saturday morning. We still see the high over northern Ohio. Warm front slowly moving to the northeast, and we've got fairly light southerly gradient over the southern part of the lake. As I say, I think that will transition into some kind of a lake breeze during the day on Saturday along the Illinois-Wisconsin shore. Rain still pretty much confined ahead of this warm front and not reaching into the lake just yet, and that may take until later Saturday before it actually arrives. This is the forecast chart for Sunday, and we see the high pressure's finally moved out to the east here, and we've got low pressure which is developed over the high plains and a trough out over the central plains, and that's finally working to push this warm front north. So it reaches Chicago sometime Sunday morning, and the rain is just out ahead of this system, so I think rain arrives into the southern part of the lake during Saturday night and early Sunday morning. And at the moment, the rain doesn't look like it extends too far north. Maybe gets up to about mid-lake and kind of stops there for the moment. Basically, a southeasterly wind ahead of the warm front, shifting more southerly should the front go through. But right now, it looks like the front is very slow moving and takes most of Sunday and into early Monday even to just move up into the central part of the lake where it eventually goes stationary. Previous forecasts, we were looking at this high pressure up over northern Ontario and some cold air massing up in that section there. It looked like that may actually come down more directly into the lakes region. Now it kind of looks like it's going to get more shunted off to the east here, and we'll really be dealing with this warm front. Now some forecasts are predicting that a wave of low pressure is going to develop on this front and move across the southern part of the lake. We'll need to watch these forecasts. I think that is a reasonable possibility, and that would significantly change the forecast. It would also enhance the rainfall, especially over the southern half or even 2/3 of Lake Michigan. And the winds would likely come in from the east should a wave of low pressure move to this across the southern part of the lake on Sunday. So we could see some significant changes in the forecast for the last half of the race, really. Going into Monday, the warm front is stationary. As I said, this cold air is getting shunted out to the northeastern part of the lakes, and we do have this low pressure trying to push in across the upper Mississippi Valley, and generally sort of east winds developing up through the Mac Straits, I think, by Monday. So it looks like an upwind finish, but not particularly strong. I don't think the winds are going to be all that significant. By Tuesday, that low pressure moves out to the east and southeast, and we have basically east winds. So the boats sailing the Supermac are going to be basically going into upwind mode to get down or to get away from Mackinac and into Lake Huron. Eventually, though, I think the winds do become a bit more northeast, so more of a reaching or running type of breeze down Lake Huron. All right, let's take a look at the wind field forecast. Here's the wind field forecast for Friday afternoon at about 1 p.m. local time. And again, we're looking at streamlines. These lines with the arrows on them are indicating the direction of flow. The solid black lines are isobars, and the shading is wind speed, and our wind speed scale is over here on the right side of the screen. So for tomorrow's cruising division start, we've got a very weak high pressure area that's going to be sitting over the southeastern part of Lake Michigan. Basically southerly gradient tending southwesterly up in the northern part of the lake. That flow kind of follows the contours of the lake. But down here in the south, it looks like mostly like a weak lake breeze with east or slightly south of east winds in Chicago tomorrow afternoon, and very light winds out in the central part of the lake as the that little high pressure area just sort of remains stationary there. Going into tomorrow evening, I see the high pressure still holding over southern Lake Michigan, right in this area here, driving a lake breeze. We've got east-southeast winds at Chicago, north winds down here into Indiana, and west winds into the Michigan shore. And then the gradient flow basically starting just north of the Illinois-Wisconsin border and extending up into the northern 2/3 of the lake. Ticked in a little bit with this lake breeze, at least at first, but of course we're going into sunset now, so we'll start to lose that lake breeze, and winds will get lighter along the shores going into the nighttime hours on Friday night and Saturday morning. Then if we go a couple hours forward here, we're into the early Saturday morning. We see that the wind has basically gone into gradient, still quite light over the southern part of the lake, and southwesterly flow up to the central and northern part of the lake. By Saturday morning, the overnight cooling has killed the breeze along the Michigan-Illinois shore. We actually got a little bit of a land breeze component there, and our gradient is really confined to the northern half of the lake up in this area here, a little bit stronger on the Michigan shore and lighter on the Wisconsin shore. Now going to start time for the racing division. We see again kind of a similar pattern to what we saw on, or see for Friday. A little bit of high pressure over the southeastern part of the lake, a southeast lake breeze, Illinois, Wisconsin shores that gets ticked in more from the south-southwest along the Michigan shore, and then stronger gradient flow filling up through the northern two-thirds of the lake. Sunday morning, sorry, this is Saturday evening. Again, that high still sitting over the southeastern part of Lake Michigan, and lake breeze along the Illinois-Wisconsin shore, and that southerly gradient which kind of follows the geographic contours of the lake going north. Now we're getting into Sunday morning. We're starting to see some indications of this possible low pressure area that I mentioned developing. We've got the warm front working its way north here, still not quite in the lake, but I think the rain associated with that system does move north finally into the lake after sunset Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And there could be a low pressure, as I say, that develops in this area here and tracks east. That causes the winds to fill southeast over the sort of southern half of the lake. Up in the north, we still have more of this southerly gradient, although it is getting lighter because of this transition occurring further to the south. Sunday morning, this is 7 a.m. Sunday morning, we see that little low pressure area as a possibility coming across Chicago. So all the flow now is shifted more easterly across the lake here, and it's gotten quite light up in the northern part of the lake, basically north of the Manitous. All right, by Sunday evening, that low tracks out to the east here, and winds shift as the low goes by, and we get this period of fresher northerlies. Again, as I mentioned, not all the models are predicting this low to develop. Some are keeping the flow actually southerly during this time period. So a fair bit of uncertainty in the forecast still present, and we really need to watch and see how future forecasts shake out if indeed this low pressure area and wave is going to develop. Our warm front is actually still sitting down in this area here, but it's got this wave that is shifted out to the east. Going into Monday morning, 7 a.m. Monday morning. Our low is now moving well east out across Erie, Pennsylvania. We have perhaps a little bit of a weak high pressure area just coming in the wake of that system. Our northerly flow will be dissipating as that low moves away, and eventually we should return to some kind of a southerly flow. But this basically got the warm front sitting in here as a stationary feature, and that doesn't really move a whole lot further north, and eventually we'll get this flow here across the northern part of the lake returning more easterly. So you can see it's pretty complicated, and as I said, the forecast is very likely to change as we go forward in time. Wind field kind of collapses during the day on Monday, and we do start to see some infiltration of northeast winds coming in to Lake Huron at this time on Monday afternoon. Lake Michigan's quite calm and pretty much trying to go into some kind of a full lake breeze flow with east winds on the Wisconsin shore, north and northeast winds on the and east winds on the Michigan shore. Sorry, west winds on the Michigan shore. So as we go look at this forecast, it'll be really important to keep updated and make sure you're coming in for the briefings, skipper's briefings on Friday morning for the cruising division, Friday afternoon for the racing division, and we'll give you our best guess at that time, and also look at some potential routes that you could be taking to get up through this rather complicated weather pattern.